Hey everyone. Today we're talking about getting the most out of your CB or ham radio antenna in your vehicle. You might be surprised to learn that the key to better signal strength can be right under your feet, literally. Imagine your antenna as a giant tuning fork. It vibrates and sends out radio waves. And for best performance, it needs a good electrical connection to a ground plane. Now ideally, your car would be a giant metal plate acting as a perfect ground. But in reality, car bodies are made up of many panels bolted together. This is where bonding comes in. By adding straps or wires to connect different metal parts of your body, particularly the trunk lid, the hood, and doors to the frame, we're essentially creating a more solid ground plane. This allows radio waves to flow more efficiently, reducing signal loss. Think of it like creating a highway for electricity instead of dirt roads. Proper bonding can significantly improve your received signal and reduce noise. You might hear other stations clearer and even extend your transmission range. It's especially important for body-on-frame vehicles like trucks, where the bed can be electrically isolated from the cab, or like my Tahoe. But remember, bonding isn't everything. While bonding is a great DIY improvement, remember it's not a magic bullet. Proper antenna placement and mounting are still crucial, but by taking the time to bond our car's body, you'll give your CB or ham radio a fighting chance to perform at its best. In the comments below, let me know if you've tried bonding your car. Did you notice a difference? And for those who want to see how it's done, stay tuned, and I'll walk you through the process of bonding step by step to the best of my ability. But a quick safety note, before you start bonding, always remember to consult your car's manual and avoid connecting anything to airbags or sensitive electronic components.
This is my schematic or diagram for my vehicle bonding project. This is merely a visual representation of what I plan to do. No, it is not accurate to any technical specification or scale of any sort. This project just started to get away from me, and I needed a way to conceptualize everything better than a list. I even made a letter and symbol key. I will briefly go through them and then walk you through the diagram. So, my key from bottom left, you see my little cursor, is B. Would be for body, PC for positive common, CB is my radio, SB is seat bolt, D for door, LR for ladder rack, LT for ladder track, E for engine, EX for exhaust, AM for antenna mount, QP for quarter panel, A for amp, BCG is battery chassis ground, H for hood, FW for firewall, and EG for earth ground. And coming up here to my symbols, this little pitchfork looking thing is a chassis. This purple upside down triangle with that little pitchfork there is the antenna. That orange bar with the forward and backward facing arrows is a bus or Anderson power pole connector. This turquoise square here with the squigglies in the middle, that's a battery. This red strap with the yellow circles on either end is the ground strap. That gray bar with the red hashes through it is a positive and negative power. And then that turquoise thing with this antenna looking thing at the end with the yellow on the left over here, that is a earth ground. That's a whole nother video, but I'll just put it on here. And then just that yellow dot there, they are individual points of contact. So starting from left to right, we'll start here at this BCG. This is the battery chassis ground, and that one connects to the negative battery terminal, and it also runs down this power cable here that's a negative And you see here it combines with the red positive and continues on to the Anderson power pole or bus. And then that will power my CB here and the amp here. Coming back to the engine bay, we will have, that is the positive common, is that yellow node there. And then this strap here is a ground strap from the hood to the quarter panel. This here, this H is the hood to my firewall. This is engine to chassis, engine to chassis, hood to quarter panel. Now, from my amp, there is a ground strap to my seat bolt, and then from my seat bolt to my chassis. And from the other side, you can see there's one also from the CV chassis to the seat bolt, but there's not one from the seat bolt to the chassis because I could not access that bolt from underneath the vehicle. I have a 2000 Tahoe. If someone wants to help me out on that one and see how I can access that bolt for grounding it. Now moving along the side here, we have a door and a body ground or bonding. And then we have a body to chassis bond. We have a body to door bond. We have another body to chassis bond. And we have a roof to door bond. And I'll get back to that one down there. We have a roof to door bond. We have an exhaust to chassis bond here. And another body to chassis bond here. Keep coming along here. Another body to door bond. A body to chassis bond. And then a body to door bond there. So up to the roof, which is represented with this madness here. That orange square there is my antenna mount, which is the AM there. And that purple upside down triangle is my antenna. And those all yellow dots are points of contact for these ground straps. And remember, just a visual representation. It looks way different than it really does on the roof. But the antenna mount is bonded to the LR, the ladder rack. And the ladder rack is bonded to the ladder track on either side. Ladder rack to ladder track. And then that yellow dot there in the middle, follow that down. That's that original 4 gauge that came with my antenna mount. So if we follow that down the ladder track, keeps going down the back of the vehicle, follow that, goes down the door and cuts back up to the chassis. And here, this is a chassis to earth ground for another video, and I will not address that now, but I just wanted to show it there. So I think that covers it, guys. I know it was a lot, but now I want to show you what it looks like on my vehicle. I hope you enjoy.
Now, before I get started showing you around the vehicle, I just want to let you know what a bear of a project this was. It took me the better part of a day. Good thing I didn't post it though right away is because I watched Mr. BBI and his part 2 bonding video, and he helped me greatly not put out a crappy product. So if you want to know technical aspects and theoretical aspects of bonding, watch his video. It's incredible. Mine is not as thorough as his. Mine is, I'm just running a 2-pill, and he would even say it's not even necessary, but it would help me get out. So that's what I'm doing. I didn't have as many bonding points, but let me tell you, it is a project if you do it properly. Also, each connection to the body, use your self-tapping screw, lock washer, and your fender washer in that order, but pre-drill your holes first. Mr. BBI explains this really well. So lock washer, fender washer, copper bonding strip, and then body. Put that in, cut. But also, I recommend under powering your drill instead of overpowering it, because you can easily strip right through metal. Instead of putting extra holes in your body, turn it down and screw it in. And if it's a little loose, then turn the power up a little bit until it's just tight enough that you can't budge it up and down. All right, well, obviously butyl, squish that all over top of there. BBI's got a really good video on this. You put a little semicircle on there first, squish the eyelid over it, screw it down, then cover it with butyl, and then heat it up with the heat gun until it gets a little shiny. Then spritz it with some clear coat, and then you should be good to go. It is a ton of work, and I get why Mr. BBI doesn't like doing this. It is a lot of work, but for the sake of experimenting and refining what I already got, why not? Vehicle cost me $2,500, don't bother me. And hopefully you guys learned something, and I'm sure you got a few pointers, and I'm sure I did a few things wrong, but that's why I put it out there. Hopefully we'll all get a little better because of it. Starting from the top, we bonded this antenna mount to these rungs, and then these rungs to this track. But as you can tell, I ended up drilling all the way through this and hiding them under here for aesthetic and utility purposes, and they're still there on either side. And then the 4-gauge, the original 4-gauge that came with it, it's still connected here down the track. I'll follow that down. Down here under the vehicle to this chassis, but then we started bonding the chassis to the body, chassis to body, and then we'll go back up to the roof, where the roof right here is bonded to this back door. And that butyl is brutal. Butyl is brutal. Mr. BBI was right. It had a lot of time, but it definitely seals that tight. One on each side, path of least resistance, here. So electrically, the whole door is seen as one piece from the antenna. Working our way down, the doors, the rear driver's side, bonded, driver's side. Let me get that bonded. Same thing to the other doors. I'll just show you real quick. Passenger bonded, rear passenger bonded, and then from here I'll go into the engine bay. For the hood, we bonded the hood to the, technically that's electrically the quarter panel. Let me get that in there. There and there. Same thing on the other side, path of least resistance. Here to here, no aux both connections. And then we already had this engine ground mounted to the firewall. And then I just continued it up, why not, to that bolt there on the hood. I only did 2 engine mounts. I'm only running a 2-pill. But this bolt, tapped it into the chassis down there. Same thing on the other side. The bolt to the chassis. If it zooms in, down there. And I didn't ground my alternator because it's literally the ground for the vehicle, so I figured, I don't know, I'm sure someone will call me on that, but I'm sure it's okay. And then, still working our way down, I have my Anderson power pole bus, which I upgraded the 10 gauge to an 8 gauge here. Ran that up there. Let me show you to the firewall there. I'll show you where that comes out. That comes out there. And that is grounded down there, which I will show you. To right here, there is a battery chassis common ground on this vehicle. I had to find it. Found some videos that showed where it was. It was hard to find actually. But then that 8 gauge common negative is actually run to here, which is not RF related, but just wanted to show you. And then moving down again, the jack is in the way, but I went body to chassis. This is right in between the front and rear doors. Same thing on the other side. Body to chassis. No, I'll install those connections. And then moving our way back here, I also did the body to the chassis. I could have done a nut and bolt on this one. But also I heard the chassis to exhaust. I didn't put a heat shrink on here because that would melt with the heat of the exhaust. But I heard that helps with a lot of the feedback noise in the radio. It was recommended that I ground the chassis of my radio. So I took that 8 gauge, made an eyelet, attached it to the chassis of the radio, brought it down behind this radio, shoved it through here, back here, shoved it under here, pops out here. And then I had to back this seat bolt off, and then I cleaned that off and put that to the bolt here in the seat. And that's for the radio chassis. But that's not all. Then went to the amp, and I know there's paint on the other side of that. I cleaned it off, so this is all one electrical connection to the amp. That runs another 8 gauge here. Sorry for the shaky camera. This is my coax, but I shoved it also behind there. You can see it pop out right there. And I brought it all the way behind that. Right there, you can see it. Comes out here, pops out here. Again, to a seat bolt. Here is the seat bolt for the passenger, where I ran the seat bolt for the passenger seat, where I ran the ground from the amp to, and then from that bolt from the underside, I ran a strap to the chassis. The driver's side bolt was inaccessible. You couldn't even get to it at all. So I guess that one stays where it is for now, unless you guys have any suggestions on how to do that one. But I think that concludes our bonding from top to bottom. So I'd like to check my noise floor, because if you bonded it correctly, your noise floor shouldn't change too much with the vehicle on or off. So I'm going to turn the volume up, see where the noise floor is. Pretty low today. I'm sorry, now there it is. I turned my RF gain up. It's a little under 2. I'm going to start my vehicle and see what happens to my noise floor. guess it could be better. Let's try that again. So it did go up a little bit. It went up just a tad, but that's another video which I will show you. We're going to use some ferrite beads and shorten our coax. I know it sounds like a lot because it was. It's because of this beautiful. It is brutal. Wear gloves when you mess with this, but it's awesome. I'm glad I got it. Again, technical and theoretical concepts. Watch BBI's part 2 of his bonding video. It's over an hour, so it's quite lengthy, but I didn't do it as extensive as his because I only did a 2-pill, which he probably said was not quite necessary, but it would help you talk and hear. So I said, why not? Just keep moving forward with these projects. I have a few more cool ones in the works. I hope you like it, and subscribe if you don't want to miss the next videos. Appreciate you.